Alright guys, we're back for another Dokkan battle video. So, we have our first major release after the 2023 Worldwide Download Celebration. And it is, I think, a bit of an iffy release to me. Of course, we're talking about the Tournament of Power androids, the duo androids. Funny how we have two, duo androids this year, huh? We have the Super 17 character, and we have 17 and 18. Now, I would say I'm pretty disappointed in them. Keep in mind that October is a pretty busy month, though. We are going to get an LR in 2 weeks, which certainly could affect these androids. And we're also getting another Dokkan Fest, typically around Halloween. It drops. So October, even though I would consider this kind of like the quiet season for Dokkan, like October, November, and usually like the beginning part of December are kind of like quiet. There is a lot of releases in this month. Remember, last year, the releases were very good with Pat the Power Kid Goku, Gamma 1, and Gamma 2. Incredible characters. Still very powerful to this day. All right, let's jump in. Now, there are major changes. Typically, I feel like I stay pretty consistent to thinking about characters, kind of like month to month. But the last one of these lists we did, I can just quickly swap over, is this. This was the list. This is when Super Trunks came out. See that Super Trunks is at 6? Well, we could start with him. I have Super Trunks at 10, actually. Things have changed dramatically because of the Worldwide Download Celebration and the really tough fights, right? When Super Trunks first came out, Omega was pretty new as well. So keep in mind, the way I'm grading characters, right? Like, I would start with performance against Red Zone Fusion Zamasu and Omega Shenron. Like, I mean, people want to go, no, Fusion Zamasu's a stupid, toxic fight. Okay, but, I mean, you still have to also acknowledge Omega, which has the same concept, which is the AoEs, right? Omega's a much longer fight. That's the thing that's unfortunate. Like, everyone is screaming, oh my god, we need long content, we need long content. I mean, Omega is a decently long fight. It's just Global doesn't have it yet, is the one thing, right? Thank God again that the sync is coming, so eventually that these aren't going to be issues we're going to encounter. But Trunks, I feel like the content moved away from him. All of these new fights come in, and on a strong team, which Trunks needs Android slash his own team is like practically unrunnable in these Dismal Future Red Zone fights, because Trunks himself is not good until he transforms. If you have double of this guy, that means you're running double of 50% chance to die, unfortunately. I don't know. I think that this guy, I would have liked him a lot better. I would have been, if this was just a guaranteed guard, this guy might go up, 5, 6 spots on this list, 7 spots on this list, something like that. But it does, it matters when you use a character and you die. And then you go back in, and then you die because of them. And then you do another run, and you die because of them. Like, that, at some point, if we're gonna rank characters, that shit has to matter. No one is discounting what he does when he transforms into this. With the Ghost Usher, he's doing guaranteed crits, guaranteed double super, guaranteed guard for the first 2 turns. Nobody is discounting this guy. But he is just such a fraud in base. And I mean, it's not the hardest to transform into him to do 5 attacks, but especially in all these Dismal Future Red Zone fights, it's like by the time you get to this guy transforming, the fight is done. The fight is wrapped up. So he becomes worthless and pointless. If this guard was guaranteed so he would not get you killed, that's good. This was much more of an issue when he first came out, but we got the 2 incredible future Gohan characters, which really back this Trunks up. So, Trunks got help when it comes to Android / Cell Saga allies, but the content has moved away from Trunks. I just don't like it. I don't really like his performance against Omega either. I mean, people say, oh, it's so easy against Omega. I mean, yeah, it's certainly easier to get it done than against the Dismal Future Red Zone fights, but, I mean, this guy is a loser, unfortunately. They gave him that 50% chance to guard. For no reason, by the way. Dude, you have to run, besides him, 3 other Android / Cell Saga characters. Why can't it be guaranteed guard? That's a very heavy restriction. I think it would be so fair to give him guaranteed guard at that cost, and this guy would be way better. I don't understand. I truly don't. All right, now this one hurts. Listen, man, I'm going to be fair here. The thing is, when I'm making these lists, I want to really try and make these as accurate as possible, right? I mean, I'm always going to get, you're never going to make a tier list that people are going to 100% agree with, right? That's just not going to happen. Like, that's something that everyone has to understand. I try my best to get, like, a good snapshot of what it looks like when I'm taking these characters into these fights. Now, Kale is really powerful once she's transformed. This Super Saiyan 2 Kale, I mean, she's up there with Piccolo Jr. and God Goku and 23rd World Tournament Goku once you transform. But again, the content has moved away from that. I mean, the earliest Kale could transform is turn 4 with Caulifla. Oh, by the way, there is approximately 0 good Caulifla characters. I see people coping for LR Kale and Caulifla, and I laugh. It's a joke. They suck. I can't. They're terrible, LR Kale and Caulifla ZZA. So Kale is literally by herself. The thing is, for her, all it does take is one Universe 6 category ally, and she could come back strong. But I'm not putting her at 5, and then, air quotations, oh, when Carnival LR Hit shows up. Is he actually showing up? Is a Universe 6 buff gonna come? I don't know. I'm not holding my breath for that. So I'm gonna have to get Kale down here. I mean, you probably could talk me into not even having Kale on the list. It's just, when you transform with her again, she's up there with those characters. But I mean, we're just gonna pretend that like she's okay in base. I mean, she gets a couple of super attacks off. She's pretty tanky if you get up to that 60% damage reduction. But the Universe 6 fraud that you have to bring for her, they're going to go down like a bitch. It's tough, man. I want to really try and be correct here. Even though I love this kid, I like what Kale does in Super Saiyan 2, like I love it so much. I mean, it's the same way I'm talking about Trunks. Like, it's a lot of the same principles apply to Kale, I think, unfortunately. It's sad. It is. Again, Transform Kale is up there, but it's not like you're not rocking with Transform Kale all the time, man. So next we have Turles. I mean, dude, Turles in front of Kale hurts so bad, but I mean, Turles, you could run Turles. He doesn't, he'll be heavily neutered without, like, big bad bosses or something like that. But, like, Kale is, like, unrunnable without a Universe 6 ally. Whereas, like, Turles, not really so much. The problem with Turles, I mean, this is an issue with many characters nowadays. These, by the way, these Dokkan Fest exclusive characters and stuff like that, these are the ones we need tanking the super attacks. I think it's important to evaluate characters correctly, right? Like, a sub EZA dies to a big boss super attack, it's like, okay, like, what are we going to expect? A free-to-play character, whatever. But, like, new Dokkan Fest exclusives, like these guys who are only a few months old and stuff like that, these are the characters who need to be going toe-to-toe with these big bosses. And when they're getting shit like this, man, that's just not, this does not cut it. Turles should be 10% damage reduction per super up to 50%, right? That would make him significantly better. Maybe even bigger, 15% damage reduction per super or something like that. That's what they had to do. I don't really mind this guy's design so much, but I feel like it's just like his stats are too low. His defense isn't high enough. His damage is not high enough, right? Too often with me and this character, super, additional normal, like, it's just one of these characters, right? Like, at a certain point, I get tired of that shit. Especially when he needs a super attack to build up, and super attack to heal right here. And, oh, by the way, this very strong intro right here, which we're literally never able to use. I mean, Turles, I think, would be quite a bit different if, we were actually able to take advantage of him, but, it is what it is. So Turles is right there. Okay, and now next we get to 17 and 18. Whew. So they have a lot of problems. Let's, of course, start with they're reliant to be great on Goku. Because with a Goku on rotation, you get this huge buff, right? With a Goku on rotation, you get a Scouter, very powerful, as well as extra attack right there. But the problem is, this is an Android unit that's relying quite a bit defensively on their links. Android Assault, 20% defense. Twin Terrors, 5% defense. Infinite Energy, 5% defense. Shocking Speed, 5% defense. Turner Power, 7% defense. You're getting a huge amount of defense from their links. So having to use them with Goku. And by the way, tournament participants Goku are not the craziest right now. One of the characters is on this list later, 23rd World Tournament Goku, but you do need to give him help. A character needs to be able to revive for that Goku to really, truly be great. So, you know, you're just put in a really bad situation. This character is reliant heavily on orbs. If we take a look at this, they get two different buffs with 7 orbs. There's this right here. 1 key, 17% attack, and 18% defense to tournament participant category units. That's, I mean, pretty substantial. And then they also get this with 7 orbs. Another 50% attack and a high chance to crit. This character has low damage. They have, honestly, their defense is not really that crazy. They do get 35% damage reduction when they super, but I've found it to be hit or miss, dependent almost entirely on MVP 17 being around, right? They have this orb changing that only lasts for 4 turns. I mean, does this make sense? Why does this only 4 turns? It's so stupid. They have probably the worst active skill in the game. I mean, Golden Frieza's active skill is better than this, right? Is this worse than Golden Frieza's? I am leaning towards yes. I mean, look at this condition. Did they have to give this a more annoying condition? This is tough. I mean, to be fair, this team that they run does no damage. It's Blue Kaioken does a lot of damage and no other character on the team. I mean, Majunya if you're running him, I guess. 23rd World Tournament Goku, after he revives, does a lot of damage, but you're probably not reviving with him. And he doesn't revive until turn 6 at minimum, that 23rd World Tournament Goku. So the team is not really doing damage. So, I don't know. There's just so many issues here. Bad conditions. I mean, because you're not doing damage, you can get past turn 5 in some of these tough fights, but it's just bad. They have flaws all over. They're just undertuned. This is a character that feels undertuned to me. I don't know. Now, could they be a lot better when we get more Gokus? Yes. But I don't want to sit here and theoretically put them in a spot pretending like a Goku is coming. I think the chances that a Goku are coming are like 95%. I mean, at the very least, we have the 3 Tournament of Power LR Gokus, because remember, it's just a character with Goku in the name, right? So, Blue Kaioken, Goku Evolution, Blue Vegeta, their easy A comes, I would count for this character, but, I mean, it's just iffy, man. I'm sorry, it is. It's very iffy with them. We'll see so many characters, it's like, if they get this buff, if they get that, just this one thing, and they're great, and then that shit just never comes. So, unfortunately, I have them at 7. Now, Path to Power Kid Goku, I've got him 1 spot above. I feel like that seems absurd to do. But, I mean, I don't, like, is Dragon Ball Saga just a better category than tournament participants right now? Probably not, but I don't know. If it feels tighter, like, I don't know. Path to Power Kid Goku certainly feels less susceptible to, AoE normals as well, which, again, people want to, like, not count Fusion Zamasu so much. But then there's also the second hardest fight in the game, Omega, which does AoE normals. So it's like the androids being the newest summonable character, taking 450 from a normal that's unavoidable practically without a dodge build. You know, I mean, what do you want me to say, man? This guy can take those AoEs much better. Now, to be very fair, this guy has type advantage against those 2 big AoE phases, the Int Omega and Int Fusion Zamasu, but there is also STR Omega. STR Omega can cut this guy up quite a bit, but, I mean, I don't know, I feel like his support might be a bit stronger. Well, I mean, I don't know, this damage reduction, this stuff right here, I find to just be so nuts if you're able to get this off. But keep in mind, Kid Goku is also a nuking character. Is that what they needed? That's probably what they needed, huh? Damn. Yeah, if they were getting this, that would change things quite a bit for them. That's the difference, is this. Kid Goku gets that nuking passive, but he's creating his own orbs, so they're fairly consistent, at least 5 or so. This character should be getting the same thing. That would make them quite a bit better. Yeah, that's a real shame right there. That is the difference, I think, because this character, they just aren't doing damage. They aren't tanking that well. They're heavily flawed with, you know, the links to characters you want to use, but you're forced to use Goku, right? And Path to Power Kid Goku just doesn't feel like he has these issues. I don't know. Maybe it's just a me thing, but it feels a little bit more comfortable to me to run Path to Power Kid Goku. I think that he could get cooked the same way the androids can, for sure. His active skill is a little bit better because it's an attack. And his active skill would give him this right away, which could help quite a bit. Allow him to tank those normals better. Kid Goku also has a built-in additional, which, you know, can be very strong. So you could see this guy, you know, triple super here and there. It's like, you know, once you get built-in additionals, you'll start to see that hidden potential system additional more often. I don't know. I'm sorry. I feel more comfortable with Kid Goku up there. Now, Yamcha skyrockets up the list. The thing is, it is very difficult to tank these new bosses. Yamcha's a dodge character. Now, he is a dodge or die character, to be fair. He is. And his dodge is not 70%, but again, it's, you know, you go up against like Red Zone Fusion Zamasu, it's not like, oh, I'm bringing this really powerful character. They just get cooked, right? They all get blown away. And I'm sorry, but I am evaluating off of the Red Zone Fusion Zamasu fight. Because guess what fight is going to get missions added to it, right? Guess which fight is going to get built upon with the next difficult content. The next difficult fight is not going to be easier than Fusion Zamasu. It's going to be harder. So, like, that is the standard now. As much as Fusion Zamasu is toxic, which I agree with. But keep in mind, again, that this guy is a dodge or die character, but, I mean, he can be really quite effective in these Dismal Future Red Zone fights. And, of course, he's very good against Omega as well, because of the dodge, right? Like, these AoE bosses, it's just tough to go against. I mean, you could not dodge, but, I mean, again, get your favorite character out there, and they're probably just going to get smacked anyway, right? Like, who, you know, which slot 2 character do you love that just gets turned inside out? So, yeah, there's that. So there's Yamcha. Let's see. Next, we're going to get Gamma 1 right here. Now, I thought about it heavily, and I just straight up dropped Gamma 2 off the list. I was thinking about putting Gamma 2 above Trunks or something like that. Gamma 2 is still powerful. I mean, I think you could run like an Android team with like 17 and 18, Gamma 1, Gamma 2, and stuff like that. They're going to link well. But Gamma 2, I mean, he gets cooked by the AoEs just like most other characters do. Gamma 2 was never better than Gamma 1. I don't know. I mean, people get seduced by damage, but time and time again, it's a tale as old as this game. Defense is always better, and defense will always age better. It's just how it is. Gamma 1 is also tremendous against Red Zone Fusion Zamasu. One thing to not forget is that Red Zone Fusion Zamasu in the second phase is a melee super attack boss. So Gamma 1 has a 70% chance to just say no to that Zamasu super attacking, which to me is a very, very big thing. He is also a defensive support. He's got the guard. He's got the damage reduction. Gamma 1 is just great. He is great. Fantastic. So we got him there. The next 3 are pretty obvious. We could just go ahead and fill in the next 3. We don't need to keep things in suspense or do any nonsense. Now, the way I like to do it is I go 23rd World Tournament Goku, then I go God Goku, and then, of course, Piccolo Jr., he's not undisputed, because I do see some people say that Mid Jr. is not that crazy, but I would say about 90% of people just agree that Mid Jr. is just different. He is just crazy. You guys know I am not a damage guy. I'm not. Like, there's way better things than just doing damage. But at a certain point, there are characters who are doing damage. And that's this guy. That is this guy. And he could tank well. I mean, he just has a great kit. Yes, certainly you could get bad luck. I have had it happen one time during the worldwide where, like, turn 1 he supered once and then he got supered, he got smoked. But it's, I mean, dude, it's very uncommon. Right? Whereas, like, to me, LR Final Form Cooler, Like, supering once and then normal death is pretty common nowadays. Whereas, like, this guy going super and then he gets killed is very uncommon. He just does tremendous damage. His giant form, I mean, can practically win you fights by itself, canceling boss super attacks, boss special abilities. He has a powerful active skill that does have an attack break, which can be very good if you get that, so he's really good. God Goku is fantastic. Again, here's the thing. It's incredibly difficult to just tank right now. Tanking ain't easy. It's not. So characters who can dodge are gonna do you right. And God Goku is one of those. God Goku does have a weakness, but so does every single other character on this list. If you're not able to get 6 orbs, you're not safe, 100% safe. Although, to be fair, even with the 6 orbs, he could get smoked. With the guard up, he could get smoked by a powerful super attack. But again, every damage reduction, every guard character, besides, like, you know, Fusions, Zamasu turn 1, Golden Frieza turn 1, like, they all take damage now. It's just, we're the bosses right now are stronger than our characters. People have to understand this. So the guard, guaranteed additional super at 6 orbs is good. Typically, I feel like I'm able to play around it and get him as orbs. Here and there, I don't get them. The thing about it, though, is that people never acknowledge this, but all it takes is 3 orbs. I think it's because people mainly play in the private server, and you can't change your builds, but my God Goku has nearly a full dodge build on top of this dodge right here. That's why. So it's like my God Goku, typically I get those 3 orbs, and we're dodging quite often. It is a major thing, right? Because these private server players aren't able to pick their builds, change their builds. So that can hold units back like this. This guy really, really benefits off of a lot more dodge. I mean, these bosses, again, are just hitting so hard nowadays. Again, if I would have to hyper focus in on a weakness, of course, it is his orbs. And I do not go crazy for this. You guys always hear me say it. Type orb changing ain't it. No way. I do not like the type orb changing. I'm not a fan. This guy would be a lot better with rainbow orb changing, but, I mean, if you do this combined with, like, Bulma or Kid Goku or something like that, which can be very effective, it can work. I've found this guy to be really, really good. The thing that's so sad this year is all of these releases this year have been mid. Besides these, like, Golden 3, right? We have Golden Week, and then we have Saiyan Day, which were real winners. Then this guy is really good. I feel like I have warmed up to him more even recently. Many times he feels like practically a must-run. His team is so good. Earthbred Fighters plus Powerful Comeback. You get the 8th anniversary GTLR in there. You revive. This guy goes into what I call God mode, and it's over. I mean, he does quad 10 million super effective against all types super attacks. Guaranteed guard with 1 million defense. It gets ridiculous. But he does just become simply a 50-50 character after his first turn if you have not revived. Right? 50% chance to guard, 50% chance to not guard. The good thing, though, is that even if your guard does not proc, unlike Loser right here, who has nothing if his guard is not up there, this guy, depending upon what your first, like if your first turn, you got hit like 7 times or something like that, this guy's defense will be really high, right? Or if you have All in the Family because you have him linked up next to like Kid Goku or Tech Ultimate Gohan or something like that, like his defense can be pretty high even without the guard. Super attack will smoke him, of course, but you know, it is what it is. He does also have a high chance to nullify Ki Blast, by the way, which is very, 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 very relevant right now because it's the hardest fight in the game. Red Zone Fusion Zamasu does do a Ki Blast super. That is one good thing Dokkan did about that fight. Sure, they did make, you know, that opening round so toxic with the AoE, but both phases have super attacks you can nullify. Omega does not have any. You can't nullify nothing he does. You just have to eat that shit, right? Whereas Fusion Zamasu, you can nullify all of his super attacks, right? With Ki Blast counter characters in the first phase, and then melee super characters in the second phase, right? So Metal Cooler, Gamma 1 against the second phase. This guy, AGL Carnival Goku, right? Maybe the STR Goku and Gohan exchange unit in phase 1. Well, you're not going to get Gohan out for that first phase, but you get what I'm saying. So yeah, let's go and take a look here. Yep, that's the top 10 right here. This is the way I would have it right here. I can't find my, like, was I going to put Super Trunks in S? No, I don't think that would be very fair. I mean, as much as I'll go on and on and on about Super Trunks' flaws, when he transforms, he is that guy. Like, make no mistake. Kale too. Kale and Super, if you transform with them, they are going to dominate. But right now, it's just tough to get to that point, right? Because Kale has weak allies, and Trunks himself is weak. Those are the issues for them. The only thing maybe you could talk me into, I feel good about this. If someone would really wanted to get Kid Goku above Yamcha, that's the only thing. Like, I'm looking at, I feel very good about this list. I thought about it long and hard. I used a bunch of these characters in a lot of these fights recently. And yeah, that's the one thing for me, is maybe we could put, you know, Path to Power Kid Goku and Yamcha could swap. That's about it. The rest of this I do feel pretty good with. Again, we take a look at last time I did a TUR list. Major movement all over the place. I just feel like the landscape of the game has changed, and it's where like some of these characters could really eat hits and do stuff, and I can't, man. I can't. I don't know. Like Gamma 2, we dropped off. Yamcha went way up. Kale and Trunks dropped. I feel good about the current lists that we're putting up. So, let me know how stupid I am. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. Even the French. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you guys. I love everyone. Thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all next time.